Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode, if you can call it an episode, really, of what I'd call a wandering in Warcraft, basically. Just as a new player myself, yeah, I'm 54 right now, making my way to 60, but this is just kind of the adventures of Warcraft here, learning my way. Um, Last episode, I'll try to number this one so it makes more sense. I was trying to explain how, the abilities themselves, along with the keybinds and everything, rotations, etc., are kind of been my downfall. Alright, yeah, so like that there was pretty sloppy, and it was I just unlocked this icy veins, and I've read a few things on how the rotations work. Like, you get M plus raids later in the game, etc., etc., and this icy veins plays a big part in everything you do. Um, Summons water elemental, accelerates your spell casting for 25 seconds, grants you a 20% haste, and prevents damage from delaying your spell cast. Like when I Frostbolt this guy, if I was to take damage while that was casting, from the way I understand it, it would tick it back a little bit. And so I've really just been trying to get these down. Here at some point, though, I'll have to probably fine tune this action bar. Like, I'd probably take Blizzard here, which is more AoE, and set it up here along with a secondary. Make this kind of like an AoE bar, and then make this third bar um, like defensive, like ice barrier, ice block, etc., etc. Or your blink. I like to keep this here. What was blink is now shimmer, because then I can just scroll up on mouse wheel because it's right there, and then I'll just go. Or center mouse button click as counter spell. But I think it'll be way more advantageous to know right off the bat, if you were someone like me, like, okay, I'm going to start out, I just made it to level 50 something. What do all these do? If I think the game is great, but I've kind of experimented, as I'm sure everybody else has. Like, hey, where do I want these according to how I move and how I play? And then I realized, well, I don't use polymorph too much unless I'm actually doing a dungeon. So maybe that will go up here, like more defensive, if that makes sense. And then, make my primary rotation. Like, let's see. I'll just find somebody here. Let's go for this assassin here. Okay, so like, let's say I'm trying to do a primary. Frostbolt. Flurried out. It'll shatter, or Winter's Chill. Okay. And that's kind of like the three right off the get. That, as far as I know, the game didn't really say much about, in terms of your profession. Like, at some point here soon, I'd like to do a higher level dungeon so I can get better loot, etc., as I'm sure we all do. But if you go in there, and I'm not going to screw with that lady, um, if you go in there, this guy will be alright, I think. into this raid, and then you're just like, okay, let me ice lance this fella. Okay, let's freeze him here. That's fine and dandy. And then you use that. Okay, then we're gonna start Frostbolt. I mean, he went down fast, but as far as I can tell, according to these skills, like, okay, you set this, and then the water elemental's abilities grant you frigid empowerment, increasing frost damage by up to 15%. So, where was I? I think so. Yeah, I was trying to explain some skills. I had to read my son a bedtime story. It was pretty nice. But in terms of that, I'm just messing around on this quest here. Like, let's say about the skills anyway, as a new player. If I started out, and I mean, granted, I've looked on websites, right? Like you have Icy Veins and Wowhead and stuff, that you can look all this stuff up, and it kind of helps you. And most people, I would think, would do their research a little bit. But if you start and you're just blowing through things, imagine it's Christmas Day or something, and or you just hot payday, and you've been saving up money for to be able to actually get WoW subscription going, like I did. I just saved up money to where I was financially ready and hopped into it, and then I realized, okay, start reading things, and I'm like, all right, well, you want to stack certain things, like get this here, Icy Veins, and then you could do slow with Frostbolt because then it's got increased damage, or start with a Frozen Orb, which is slow and hits a lot. Then it makes your Blizzard an instant cast if it's spec right. Then you can freeze them, etc., etc. The list goes on. And I think Blizzard did good in the aspect of where, like, if you do your research, all these things pair together. It's like kind of like in Diablo, your skill tree is everything's supposed to pair together. You play it. I mean, of course, have fun is the main thing. That's why I'm just kind of messing around. I kill crabs and stuff and think around because it's all just fun. This is all a game. But eventually, I would like to, yeah, be able to go do a raid. And so with that comes practice, and failing, which I have multiple times already. Not to toot my own horn here, but yeah, you practice, and then what? There's no actual guide telling you, look, this is what you should do. This is what normally happens. This is how this stacks up. Well, maybe just a basic something to help you out, like an example to show you, like with her, she's not too bad if you're focusing really. There's way harder people, but if you pair everything up for your DPS just fine, along with your clones, that seems to work for me. Um, but if they don't give you a basic rundown and you've never played MMORPG before with multiple different skills such as this, you might run in there and say, okay, this lady here, this Kona Cold is pretty cool. So you roll up on her, let's say this grabs her, and then you get up close, blast it, and then now you're in melee range and you're like, oh shoot, what should I do? Alright, well, I'll freeze this guy. Start there. And you haven't procced anything. So I'm not saying give anybody a cheat sheet. I personally think learning, finding what's fun for you and your play style is important. But if somebody knew how the abilities work, because right when you get off the tutorial, you're gonna start getting levels, mage levels, and start getting hit with Obviously, see, here's Portal. I haven't even added that yet. You'll start getting hit with spells upon spells, and it explains what they do, whether it's a passive and stuff. But you could just go. Let's go to Mage. Let's just take Portal here. Um, I mean, I have my other Portal over here, so I might just keep it there. I don't know if it's important yet or not. But let's say you could just throw it on the bar, and you'd be like, all right, cool, I have Portal now, so I don't know if that's going to pair well or how the basic rundown works. And again, maybe that's just me. Other people might not think that's a big deal, which I totally respect that. But I think it'd be cool if somebody like myself just came brand new into it. I mean, I explained in a previous video, I maybe played WoW for like 10 minutes back in Classic, and I was an orc and just killed stuff in this barren desert, and that's pretty much it. Other than some PoE and things like that as time went on, it's just like if you don't know, okay, I need to pair this stuff, or I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to be sitting here eating damage because I've just aggroed 10 of these dudes right here at once. And you're like, oh no, I don't remember where I put my ice block on the bar, etc., etc. And then it's just the skills I think would be cool to manage a little bit better. See what you need. What should I have next to my frostbolt for my single target rotation? Like just a guide on skills and rotation, I think would help people a lot. Other than that, it's been good. I've done the dungeon so far. I'm looking forward to 60 so I can move further in to the whole experience. From what I know, I mean the main game really starts at 60, 70 from what I've heard. So that'll be pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to that. I've just been questing around, as you can see, just kind of quick questing through here. Run in here, talk to this lady, turn that in, turn this in, and that just gives you a ton of XP. Sell some junk. Unknown if I can do that. And that's unknown. Speaking of unknown, like these ones here, I'm still not sure if I should disenchant these unknowns. And most of the stuff, yeah, you can find online. Maybe I'm just not researching it efficiently. But like where it says under auction unknown, I don't know if I should just sell it to the store or do this disenchant, which I set up as a profession, or would it be ideal? I mean, again, like I said, maybe I'm just not reading enough into it. And yeah, they have. Where the heck is it? No. Down here, /5 to ask questions in newcomer. That's always available, which is really nice if you want to know that type of stuff and want to bug them about it. It's fine. I thought I had enough war resources for this lady. But yeah, the little stuff. I mean, maybe it's something I missed, but just as a new person going in, I mean, this Mayan equipment, I think, is pretty, like, it's green, blue. This is all newcomer stuff, as far as I can tell, like, from what I've read up on. So there's, by no means am I far enough really to, I think, whine about the stuff, but just my first impression is, hey, maybe that would be nice if you don't know what you're doing. Like, they tell you to, when you start to, you walk with WASD, and I move mine to ESDF, so that way you can set these bars up kind of in rotation, which I have to reorganize it again. But just little tips I think like that would work for your spells. Like, oh, this these ones proc together. Like once I use Frozen Orb, this Ice Lance starts just hitting crazy because it hits what is here, triple damage against frozen targets. So yeah, obviously you can just read it when you set it up, but if you have no idea about chaining effects and percentages just starting out, I think that'd be helpful. Until then, any other thoughts you guys have, just let me know in the comments. Next video, I'll probably come back, maybe talk about, like disenchanting and professions and stuff, which is something I'm definitely still working on as a newer character. And anything else you'd like my opinion on, or you have an opinion on maybe the spells we talked about today and setting them up, I'm all ears. I'll take constructive criticism. So thank you all for stopping by, and I'm going to finish this quest.